The Mon Calamari shipyards are the sole reason the Rebel Alliance could even contend with the Imperial Navy. But I find that a lot of people tend to sleep on these vessels, or worse, they don't even bring them up in the conversation. So today we're going to change that by breaking down the most popular models and explaining why you would want to include these in your fleet's lineup. I understand the Mon Calamari designs aren't necessarily the coolest, and they often remind me of the bulbous cars of the 90s and early 2000s, and you might agree the Kuat Drive Yards definitely makes a more mean-looking Star Destroyer or Dreadnought class. However, I'll say some of the MC series models strike an aggressive pose as these ships are massive and pack plenty of firepower. In fact, many of these vessels were designed for exploration and observation, meaning they could last and survive in the depths of wild space in the unknown regions. But we won't start with the big star cruisers. We're going to start off with a little known frigate. The MC-30C frigate, simply referred to as the MC-30C, was a 380-meter-long vessel, packing some impressive weapon systems, making it one of the most powerful mid-level warships in the Alliance arsenal. Packing 2 forward-mounted heavy proton torpedo launchers designed for aggressive assault, 16 turret-mounted medium turbo lasers for ship-to-ship conflicts, 16 twin medium laser cannons for those pesky TIE fighters, and 6 cluster bomb launchers when you need to inflict maximum damage. MC-30C frigates were operated by a crew of 820 officers and enlisted, and could hold 95 soldiers and maintain a deployment for up to 2 years. The downside of these frigates were their size and armor. Not being able to take damage as well as the larger models, you'd find them amongst Alliance battle groups providing escort and support. The next vessel is far stronger and built for fleet versatility. The MC-40A light cruiser was a fair-sized vessel at 500 to 600 meters in length and resembled the clamshell-like keel as the MC-30C frigate. Built in similarity to both the design and function of the MC-80A star cruiser, the MC-40A was outfitted with exceptionally strong deflector shields and a robust series of redundant systems for added protection against system failures during combat and stressful maneuvers. The downside of the MC-40A cruiser was its speed, being considered unusually slow for its class and often outpaced by other vessels. However, its upgraded systems and powerful deflectors provided this vessel and allowed its well-balanced armament to engage larger vessels. The MC-40A maintained 14 turret-mounted turbo lasers divided between the port and starboard, 2 forward-mounted concussion missile launchers, 18 medium ion cannons, 4 forward, 4 aft, 5 port, and 5 starboard. Not to mention the 6 heavy tractor beam projectors. Commanders of MC-40A light cruisers often use their medium turbo lasers to pummel hostile craft from a distance. But when outclassed, the light cruiser could engage at a closer range, allowing for its missiles and ion cannons to work against an enemy. During these battles, their complement of 12 starfighters would work to form a fighter screen around the cruiser. All in all, the MC-40A light cruiser could use its powerful shields to protect it as it fought against much larger warships. Enough with the smaller Mon Calamari vessels, time for some star cruisers. Probably one of my favorite designs, the MC-75 Star Cruiser came in 2 models, Armored Cruiser or Ordnance Cruiser. Most will recognize these Star Cruisers from Rogue One as it battled against the ISDs guarding Scarif, and commanded by the faithful Admiral Raddus. This retrofitted Mon Calamari city ship was made to be faster, stronger, and more durable. It boasted a battleship-grade hull and a weapons collar modification to hold all primary weapons and shield generators. The massive bulk and length of this vessel, that being 1,204 meters, meant that its Kuat Drive Yard's Gemini 15 sublight ion drives would need to be repurposed to allow this vessel a cruising speed equal to that of its starfighter escorts. Speaking of starfighters, the MC-75 held a complement of 36 starfighters, depending on the models, either A-wings, X-wings, Y-wings, U-wings, or even the difficult B-wings. Along with that, you'll remember that these star cruisers could also hold 1 CR-90 Corvette. When it came to fight back, these cruisers brought the firepower with 12 broadside turbo laser cannons, 4 heavy ion cannons, 12 proton torpedo launchers, and 20-point defense twin heavy laser cannons. After all that, you could see why the MC-75 was often seen leading their own battle groups against the Empire. Next we have the MC-80 Star Cruiser. Classified as a heavy cruiser, it came in two models, the MC-80A Home 1 type heavy cruiser and the MC-80 Liberty type heavy star cruiser. Starting with the MC-80A Home 1 type, you'll know this model for being commanded by the legendary Admiral Akbar. This variant of the MC-80 was around 1,200 to 1,300 meters and packed some of the heaviest firepower along with a massive amount of starfighters. The MC-80A was placed in the role of either flagship, battleship, carrier, or command ship. As such, it would need to bring on the firepower to contend with the Imperial Navy's best. It possessed 29 to 36 quad heavy turbo laser batteries, 36 twin battleship ion cannon batteries, 29 heavy turbo laser batteries, 80 quad laser cannon batteries, and 6 heavy tractor beam projectors. Now these weapon systems were placed strategically around the hull in various configurations, but we'd be here all day if I got into those details. Rather, I'll talk about the complement these incredible ships held. MC-80A heavy star cruisers maintained a complement of 10 starfighter squadrons, equaling out to 120 starfighters. You can assume that this mostly included X-Wings and A-Wings, along with some old Y-Wings and maybe a few B-Wings. It also had shuttles, landing craft, and utility vehicles for repairs. Its strange sister, the MC-80 Liberty type heavy star cruiser, struck a different, more fish-like design, with fins jutting out from port and starboard. I really like the design of this heavy cruiser, so let's get into the details. Being the more standard model of the MC-80, you could find a number of these vessels bulking up the rebel battle groups. They are around 1,200 to 1,500 meters in length, and while not as well armed or armored as the MC-80A Home 1 type, the MC-80 was still well equipped, boasting 48 heavy turbo laser batteries, 20 battleship ion cannons, dozens of point defense laser cannons, missile tubes, and 6 heavy tractor beam projectors. Not to mention 3 or more broadside heavy ion cannons capable of disabling an Imperial-class Star Destroyer. Along with its weapons, the Liberty-type cruiser had 3 to 10 squadrons, roughly 36 to 72 starfighters max. As rare and as few as the home-type MC-80A were, the Liberty cruisers were more plentiful. Several famous models include the Liberty, easy enough, the Freedom's Dawn, a little dramatic, the Invincible Faith, kind of preachy, and the Restoration, how original. But enough with all these retrofitted exploration vessels, as durable and as powerful as they may be. Now it's time for the Calamari Shipyards to design their first ever warship, made specifically for the New Republic. The MC-90 Heavy Star Cruiser was a 1,255 meter length warship able to put out higher power levels than that of an ISD-1. That might not seem like a brag, but you'd be wrong, considering more power means more durable and widespread shields and greater weapon system output. The MC-90 had a crew of 5,860 and 605 gunners, which is way more efficient than anything the Empire ever had. In fact, it could be operated by a minimum crew of just 1,350. The passenger capacity was also impressive, being able to hold 1,700 soldiers. Now, with 605 gunners being stationed aboard the cruiser, you're probably wondering what sort of weaponry are we talking about. Thanks for asking. We have 75 light turbo laser batteries, 30 to 35 heavy ion cannon batteries, 6 heavy proton torpedo missile tubes, and 8 tractor beam projectors. Yes, that doesn't quite add up to 605, but you must consider the crews required to operate these weapons. Most had a minimum of 3 personnel, with others needing at most 15 crew members. While it does only possess light turbo lasers, you should consider the quantity, along with the added heavy ion cannons and missile tubes. Not to mention the 72 starfighters, which held their own proton and ion torpedoes. I will note that the MC-90 Heavy Star Cruiser was the most powerful New Republic warship prior to the Yuzhong-Van War. And despite this, Admiral Akbar had his complaints, especially with the clear bubble bridge located in the center of the ship. Regardless, it was still advanced and designed to be used by the majority of New Republic officers and enlisted, rather than just Mon Calamari. As we continue down this list, we find the MC-95 Star Cruiser. Yes, this is the model in The Last Jedi. Regardless of your feelings on this movie, we gotta give this vessel its fair shake. I'm sure many of you will be happy to know that this model really doesn't have much detail. It was equipped with a standard array of weaponry, along with a moderate fighter complement and shuttlecraft. This model of Star Cruiser would participate in engagements against both the First Order and Sith Eternal forces during the Battle of Exegol. Our final Mon Calamari Shipyards model is the Scythe-class main battlecruiser. This vessel was produced roughly 100 years after the Yuzong-Vong War, and took drastic changes in design and function. Unlike previous models, the Mon Calamari Shipyards decided to mass-produce this battlecruiser. The Scythe class was equipped with a faster than normal hyperdrive, giving it a rating of 0.75. There isn't too many details on the length or size of this battlecruiser, but we do know its weapon systems and fighter complement. Weapons consisted of 3 heavy turbo lasers, 6 turbo laser batteries, 2 heavy ion cannon batteries, 40 proton torpedo tubes, that seems excessive, and 2 tractor beam batteries. A complement of 36 CF-9 Crossfire starfighters, 4 shuttles, assault ships, and supply ships were held within this weird-looking battlecruiser. The Scythe class saw extensive combat throughout the Sith Imperial War, and even continued in the Galactic Alliance Remnant as they engaged the Sith following the surrender of the Galactic Alliance itself. Now, I don't mean to be too harsh, but this ship is my least favorite. I know, brutal words. But really, it doesn't do it for me. I don't like the design or its armament. Now, I'm sure some tactics changed after fighting the Yuzong-Vong, but really, this is what the famed Mon Calamari Shipyards could come up with. There's a reason the Galactic Alliance surrendered. Mon Calamari are renowned for their ship designs, and it shows in their ability to take on Kuat Drive Yard's best Star Destroyers and Star Dreadnoughts. My personal favorites are the MC-75 Star Cruiser, MC-80 Liberty type Heavy Star Cruiser, and the MC-30C Frigate. Let me know which one is your favorite, and tell me if I was too harsh on the Scythe class and MC-95, or was it a fair verdict? Make sure to subscribe to help support the channel. It truly means a lot, and feel free to like this video if you enjoyed the topic. Have an amazing day, long live Mon Cala, and may the Force be with you always.